Oops.
All right. Hi. Welcome to Coffee Talk Tuesday. We are live right now, and we are here to kick off our new season.
What season number is it?
Season number, well, let's see. With us, it would be number 2.
No, but overall.
Overall, let's see. I've actually been doing Coffee Talk for like 3 years.
Okay.
And I've done probably like 4 different seasons. But I've changed it every time, just, because...
Well, this year, I think the big change is the blue lights behind us.
I love the blue lights behind us.
That worked out well. So we had, the last 2 weeks, we've had amazing guests. So John Absey.
The last, 4 weeks, we've had amazing guests.
But I can only remember 2 weeks.
2 weeks at a time.
Yeah, the 2 Goldman girls from the week before who have started a organization to get the word about young Muslims out in the community and foster some growth there. We had John Absey, the bear.
Next week, actually, is Terry Burden, remember, from Park City TV. So we've been filming for the last few weeks, obviously 4, since he can only remember 2.
Yeah.
But Terry Burden from Park City, he used to work at Park City TV.
Nice guy. He was in, he played his he had a beautiful song. I mean,
awesome. It was super awesome.
So some of the, we really, you get
Miss
great,
Utah?
Miss Utah was great. And then we've had Mrs. Universe Pageant World Robin Toohey. I knew her name at least. I'm not sure but she is a delight. And so we've had some really good guests.
Fun guests, yeah.
So you and I just had a funny meeting. So
yes, we did.
We were talking to Al Bernstein, who hosts a show that we distribute called Al Bernstein Unplugged, which I am the co-host in a very small, I don't get a word in edgewise, but that's another story. And
I don't know anything about that.
And yeah, exactly. But it was funny when you're doing a conference call, I kept going to you, smile, because your enthusiasm.
Well, okay. At some point, because I'm trying to get a word in edgewise, just like you said, and I'm trying to tell them,
I wonder what that's like.
I
can't relate to that at all.
I know you can't. No, but I was trying to tell them, my thoughts and everything, and I had to just be patient and wait. And so when I'm being patient, I'm like, okay, don't say anything. And so I'm trying to focus on not saying anything. And then I'm not smiling, and then you're like, smile.
Think about what's going on with Zoom. It is so many people. In a conference room, you can sit around, and you can know when it's your turn to speak. Mm-hmm. And on Zoom, you're trying to get a point in. It's tough. There are going to be people. And Chris works for a company, Maui Mastermind, and Larry, my business partner on the TV station, work there, and they're doing a ton of stuff on Zoom. But it'd be interesting to put out a video for someone to put out how to be in a Zoom meeting and be the alpha male or the big dog. You don't know how to do it, I guess is my point.
Well, it's tough, but the mute factor is really good, especially when you're hosting the Zoom conference call or whatever, and you have control. I learned this because of my kids, homeschooling my kids during the pandemic last spring, I guess. And the teachers had all the control. So when they were on mute the whole time until it's like, okay, now it's your turn to talk.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, and Lee controls the Zooms and stuff. And one of the things that we've had to work on is, for instance, when we have a guest, is to make sure we're all turn off our camera, go on mute so we're not interrupting. So the host so today we've got Brian's show. We've got T.O. Terrell Onens, who's he's a Pro Football Hall of Fame wide receiver, but he's very difficult.
Yeah.
And so we got to make sure we're all off when Brian's doing that interview. And
well, and that's so going back to that. So we were doing some Zoom ones for Coffee Talk during the pandemic, but then we started coming back here. What do you like better? What do you like doing better? Do you like being
people
on
here? Yeah, So your guest from Industrial Supply, the football player from the University of Utah, Ron McBride, was telling some great stories about him, and so we've had a chance to meet some really great people on this show, and that's the fun of doing it.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Well, because you can feed off of their energy, and it's different when you can still kind of do it on Zoom, but it's not the same.
No,
I can't just reach over and slap you,
Well, here's the thing. On Zoom, you can get guests that you couldn't get otherwise.
Yeah, that's true.
And
we do have a couple of guests coming through Zoom in a couple of weeks.
And who are they?
One is Yuri Williams. He actually...
You're kidding. You got Yuri Williams?
Yes. Listen.
Okay.
He is super cool. And he dresses up like he's an ex-cop. He used to be a cop. And he has a really amazing story. I'm not gonna spoil it, but he dresses up as Spider-Man and goes around and he visits people. He helps a lot with the homeless community in LA. And he actually, the reason why I know him is because one of my heart kids, he came and visited him and dressed up like Spider-Man and everything. And then I got to, because I met him through that. And then when we went to LA, I surprised my kids and he came and visited us at the hotel. And my son loves Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's big to me because my son, who passed away, loves Spider-Man too. So Spider-Man is like my favorite. But he also signed a poster that I was taking to another heart kid in Washington during our road trip. So he's going to be on our show in a few weeks.
Okay. So I was going to be a smart ass and I decided not to.
I know. I saw it. I saw it in your eyes.
So I was going to say, an ex-cop is delusional and thinks he's Spider-Man? I mean, what's funny is, who is a wonderful, Joseph Wambaugh is a wonderful former cop who's written a ton of stuff and made into a lot of movies, but he writes true cop. And all his books, he always has a scene where they're interacting. The guys who dress up in costumes in L.A., they're always fighting with each other because they're always alcoholics who, and they're trying to push people out of the way and get it. And so,
well, one of the cool things that he just did too is that because about Chadwick that just passed away, which is devastating. It's so sad. But there's this little African-American boy who was so sad about it. And he actually just posted a thing on his Facebook where they did a little funeral. And he had the Black Panther in the middle and then all the other superheroes around. And it's just so touching and it was so sweet. But that's the kind of stuff he does, so.
Chadwick Boseman, 43 years old.
I know. That's only a year and a half older than me.
So let me do the math. So if he's 43 in a year, so you're 33. It's amazing. I can do that stuff. He struck a nerve, and to have that much success, I mean, he was a great actor.
Oh, amazing, incredible, yeah.
But to all of a sudden have Black Panther be such a monumental breakout, and there was no... It's almost like the movie Titanic in that there was some bad press leading on Black Panther, and not bad press, but people wondered how it would do. And to be one of the greatest grossing movies of all time, to have a black leading character, a black plot, it went a long way to showing people in Hollywood who greenlight movies that this is here to stay. And now
to know
women
that he had cancer through that whole entire thing and the whole process, and he just didn't let it get him down, and he just kept fighting through.
So one of my amazing guys that I worked with is Brett Grant, and I've got a picture here of he and I doing a UNLV game. But he had colon cancer for a number of years and fought it like a champ. And he was I've had the good fortune to work with a lot of great sportscasters, and including guys who have made it doing NFL, guys who have made it. He had the most talent of all of them. But he chose to make money, and it's kind of funny. So he owned a radio station down in Vegas and did very well, but he was a morning radio guy in Chicago. Brett Grant, amazingly talented, and the funniest guy to work with. But colon cancer is hugely, hugely challenging.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things where, okay, this is going to sound horrible, but if your doctor tells you to get a colonoscopy, do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
good advice for our viewers.
Yeah, and it is one of those things that no one wants to have a stranger reach up their butt.
Right.
Well, maybe some of your friends.
Stop it. We can't edit this one.
No, but okay, maybe a lot of people like that. But all seriousness, it's one of those things where it, I've
actually had to get one before.
Yeah, and now they put you under on a drug that no, they've always put you under, not some of the bars you go to, but that's another story. But now they've got a drug where you wake up and you can drive within 20 minutes. Maybe half an hour. But, it's not like you're wiped out. So that's one of those things that do it.
Yeah.
It's funny how when a big actor dies or someone, it's a huge, the family, the fans, and everything. But there can be good that comes of it, and we've talked about that in the show with your foundation. And so, for instance, Katie Couric's husband, she was a big-time anchor on NBC and did the Today Show. Her husband died of colon cancer, and it really helped people getting checks, and maybe this will happen with the Black Panther actor.
I have a question for you, Trip. So
Yes.
one of the reasons why I wanted to go live and just have it be the two of us is because people don't necessarily know who we are and how we got to be.
So you were a guest on our show working for charities that John Absey and Randall Carlisle and I do.
Yep.
And so your foundation, you came on and were a guest, and we said, boy, we like this woman's energy. Why don't you be part of what we do here?
And are you regretting that?
Only on days that end in a Y. And when you weren't smiley face. And so what we do here at Let's Do Something Productions is there are three of us, Lee, Spencer, Chris Gillum, and myself. And so we have a lot of experience in different aspects of business. I do TV, so I'm a part owner of KPDR TV. I own a third of it, which is a local TV station. Chris worked for us there, and Chris is very talented at doing digital video as well as TV.
I wonder if we can get Chris to come on and say hi.
Chris won't, after I did jokes about his marriage, I doubt he will come in. But, and so what we do here is we've set up probably the only, my guess is at least 3-camera hot switch podcast studio in Utah. So we specialize and have people coming in and doing their shows. And through March, I reached out to one of my broadcast partners, Al Bernstein, to do a show, now Brian Custer, and that thing is taking off. And we've arranged for those shows to be seen on 180 million households around the country. And the math is tough because there are only 130 million households. So there's some cities where it's on 2 different stations, but we're excited about those projects. So having you here, and we've met hopefully some people that you've brought us will come in and start doing shows.
Yeah.
So.
That would be
We're always
awesome.
looking for great podcasts. If you're looking for a home, we'd love to talk to you about it. And because we have a TV studio here, you're crazy if you do a podcast only anymore. It just do a show but have video as well. You can broaden the amount of people who watch.
So speaking of that, we've been talking about putting Coffee Talk on this.
KPDR TV. So you just need to get a better co-host.
I don't know that that's possible, Trip.
Well, it isn't, but so yeah, and we will work on getting that. I mean, I've got the keys to the station, so we can.
Yeah, right. So we can.
I don't
we can figure
abuse that
out.
privilege very often.
So we'll let you guys know when that actually happens, because,
TV is good.
It'd be awesome. It'd be
TV,
super fun.
So I was watching our channel this morning. Pawn Stars were on,
Oh,
and I'll tell you a funny story about
okay.
that. Pawn Stars. So History Channel got that going. And they were doing a show called Ice Road Truckers, which they were spending a ton of money on. Just really expensive show. And Pawn Stars, the family, the Harrison family, and those people kind of developed, and they brought it on. All of a sudden, their ratings go through the roof. It's a cheap show to produce. I mean, dirt cheap.
Wow.
And it made so much money for everyone involved, and it spun off a bunch of other Vegas-centric shows. And it's just one of those things, you throw them out there. Now the big show that my wife watches are those stupid home rehab shows. And I started watching them too.
Right.
So in a half an hour, the shows are always identical. They buy a home sight unseen. The hosts walk in and don't realize that it's a total S show, that it's horrible. Then they fight overcoming it. Then in the last scene, they stage it beautifully and they sell it and make a ton of money. Those shows have led to so many normal civilians flipping homes and losing billions of dollars. Those shows have been a tragedy because house flipping is not easy.
No.
And there are so many problems that you just never anticipate. And so many divorces. Those shows are worse than the Great Depression on losing wealth for people.
Oh,
And then they have the seminars.
right.
Oh my God, where they get all these schlubs to go to, and they tell them that we'll buy you lunch. Come down here and get a free seminar, but then it's like Trump University, which was a scam from day one. All these house flipping things I mean, that's beyond 99% of the people who do it, their capability.
Wow.
So I don't know why I got on that rant.
I don't know why either. But you mentioned, so you've had a lot of experience though being in what's your history? Why are you doing 8 shows and now? Because
I work with hot chicks. So I'm doing a show called Talk 365, which is on 5 days a week on the CW at 6:30 in the morning. Though we're now going to be on at 5:30 in the morning and 12:30 at night. So if you're an insomniac, but I do that with Holly Love, a very talented young lady, and I do that 5 days a week. I do Al Bernstein Unplugged, which is a TV show, a podcast. I do that, and then I do a show called Let's Do Something Even If It's Wrong, which is on hiatus because the 2 hosts hate each other now. Well, one, but we'll get that. You know, the Arabs and Israelis.
That's just drama that...
Yeah, that's chick drama. Chicks are insane. And I know I'm leaving out some shows, and...
But what got you doing this? You have how many years of experience doing TV and radio and
It's coming up
interviews?
on 27 years, and so I started working for the American Sports Radio Network, and what happened, I was playing hockey on a Thursday night, and the referee goes, "You're a loudmouth." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Why don't you be a guest on my national..." He goes, "You know a lot about the NBA," which I really specialized in. And he goes, "Why don't you be on my show?" And he called the owner of the network after hockey that night, and the guy said, "No, I'm not going to let him on." And then my buddy overslept. I went into the studio 5:45, and the overnight guy said, "Jay's not here." So the overnight guy stayed on with me for the first segment, and I was his guest, and the owner called and said, "Hire him." And so I started on national radio the following day, hosting a show in 140 cities around the country, and we grew it from there. Then got into TV and was a sportscaster in Vegas. Then we bought this TV station here in Salt Lake, and I decided to come up and run it.
Cool.
And so that's why I'm sitting here. But doing shows is a lot of fun, and that's... Yeah. You know, and that's why the medium is so, because you can do long form interviews. Mm-hmm. So we've got a guy named Travis Whitaker who's wonderful. He's doing a show now, and we're going to put it on either Channel 4 or the CW. And he's been doing short form, but getting a chance to meet people and really figure out what they do, what makes them tick, is amazing.
Well, that's why I started doing. So when I started doing Coffee Talk, it actually was I think it was 2016, June of 2016, 2017, just because I got this idea and I wanted to start sharing my story because I knew I was already in the process of writing my book, which has now been published. So I started just telling my story, and I started talking about different thoughts that I was having and just different feelings and things. And so I was just doing my little, selfie videos and stuff like that. And then I started talking to other people, and I'm like, well, everybody has a story to tell. And especially since I've been doing my nonprofit, Rainy Days, and helping the Heart Kids, and like everybody just has such an empowering story that can help somebody else. And that's why I started doing really interviews with people that are making a difference in the community. And so being on the Working for Charity show, I was like, yes, this is what I want.
Well, so, and again, doing video, you're crazy not to, if you can afford it. I mean, it's cheaper to do an audio show, and there are millions of podcasts out there. And quite frankly, I forgot 2 other shows I do, now that I realize it. Yeah, Working for Charities and Odyssey House Journals. Yeah, I knew there were some other shows. But what we found with Odyssey House, with Randall, is he was a newsman, and you remember he was on Channel 2 for a long time, then went to Dallas.
He was on our show.
Yeah, he was on our show.
Like
Great guest. And Channel 4, and he left Channel 4, still some years left on his contract, to go work at Odyssey House, and loves it. But Odyssey House Journals, it really hit a nerve. And we've done 60 episodes, and it was up to our number 1 show was 12,000 downloads a week, which is, at the time, I go, oh, that's okay. And I didn't realize that put that as probably the number 1 weekly show in Salt Lake, or in Utah, by far and away. KSL does the murder stuff, the Powell stuff, that gets 30 or 40 million.
Yeah.
But typically, most podcasts are pretty small, less than 1,000 or 500 listeners. So working with Randall, we found that, boom, And Lee Spencer, my other business partner, shoots that, and it's something that's close to the heart, and it's done really exceptionally well. And we have listeners around the world.
Yeah.
So,
well, I love that. And everybody, because it's inspiring, and people that are going through struggles want to hear other people that have either gone through them or are going through them. And the more raw and vulnerable you can get, the better, honestly. And
yeah, and Randall is amazing, and can't wait till we start another season. I've got to do some apologies to Randall because we just all of a sudden launching 2 of our podcast / video shows and transitioning them into network TV shows was more than Lee and Chris could have on their plate. And so all of a sudden we're launching again on 9 different networks this week and next week. But a lot of good things.
yeah. Well, so that reminds me. So coming in and being able to help you guys with all of this stuff too, I was talking. So when I met my ex-husband, Dave.
Which one?
Dave.
Okay.
So I actually started acting, and they had a studio, and so the acting coach that I was with brought me into this studio, and I fell in love with it, and I was like, this is what I want. Like, I get to just be me, and I ended up
No. Acting is being other people, but I don't want.
Well, unless you do it right. That's why you're a terrible actor, because you try to be other people when really you should just pull those parts out of you and be you in those situations. I used to be an acting coach, dude. I know.
So, okay,
wait, hold on. Let me finish my story. So, I was like, I love this place, and I wanted to help, and I wanted to be able to be a part of it. And so I basically started doing office management stuff for them, and like finding my little niche and where can I be a part of it. And so it's funny because I'm now doing the same thing here. I'm like,
so there,
you could get rid of me.
I've got a TV show for you.
Okay.
The Kaminsky Method.
Okay.
Have you watched it?
No.
It's on Netflix. It is brilliant. Michael Douglas is an acting coach in L.A.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, and Alan Arkin, and it is beyond belief. And it doesn't get as much. The Jane Fonda show gets more hype for the old fart crowd. But the Kaminsky is a much better show. Frank and Gracie, or whatever it is. Jane Fonda, 6 seasons, and it gets all the Emmy buzz. But Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin are fantastic. But it's funny, in an acting coach in L.A. who never achieved fame, but yet he knows the thing. Yeah. And that's kind of, how on a situation comedy they have 3 different storylines going. So one will be work storyline, personal, and all the other stuff. But it's brilliantly done. So
well, I mean, I think that's a lot of it too, is that we know a lot of times like what we need to do to get there. But
no,
I mean, when it comes to acting and all those things, like it's 5%. 5% of actors actually make it. 5%.
No, it's lower than that.
There's a lot of actors out there.
No, I mean, it's lower than 5%.
Lower than 5%.
Yeah, the number I've heard is 1%, and I've heard that for some big-time people.
Really?
1% of members of the Screen Actors Guild make a living at it. Wow. 1%. I mean, that...
Maybe that's how they were trying to get me into acting classes 20
years
ago.
No, 5% is way off.
Way off.
Yeah, it's...
Well, but I know, I have one of my sections of people that I absolutely love are their actors. Well, my ex is an actor, and he actually acts. He works all the time, but because at least he's working all the time. But
well,
it's not
then he's part of that 1%. If you can make a living acting, and he very charming guy and was a great guest on the show.
He's an amazing actor. I'll always be a fan because he's incredible.
Yeah, but...
Acting. If he's watching this right now.
No, but I mean...
he's a good guy, and he's an amazing dad, too. And I'm very lucky to have him in my life.
So, here's the thing about acting. It's hard. And that's... So, my great terror is about a month ago I had to do an audition for some stupid thing, and I had Chris film it, and I did to say I did a crappy job would be overstating. I was horrible. And for some reason, I thought that Chris had it on his phone, and it could be blackmail material for the rest of my life. And then it's like 2 in the morning, I woke up and I go, son of a bitch, it's on my phone. So my wife was going, what the hell are you doing? And I was erasing 12 takes of this because it was possibly the world's worst acting. I've told this story before.
You have. It's funny, though.
But after doing a fight with Al, we did an Evander Holyfield worldwide pay-per-view fight. So it was on literally everywhere. And we got tons of buys from Europe. But it's a big deal. And the guy from HBO said, hey, we're doing a movie. You'd be great as the boxing play-by-play guy. It's called blow-by-blow in boxing. And I auditioned, and the guy goes, you're horrible. So of all the people there auditioning for that role, I was the only non-actor, but I have done it at a high level, and yet I couldn't get it. So
well,
that's when...
If you ever need any coaching for any other auditions you do, I'm actually really good at it.
Okay.
I'm serious. I'm not joking.
Because Hallmark is shooting everywhere. And, you know, it was funny. Chris mentioned yesterday that there was a... Budweiser commercial filmed at the market right up on Main Street across from the police station. I remember the night they were filming that. I drove by. And so there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
You can't go to 7-Eleven right now and not find a Hallmark movie being shot in this town.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Utah's a big spot. But we are almost out of time already.
Okay, how much time do we have?
We have like a couple minutes left. But I want to tell our viewers, for this next season, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel.
What is the name of it?
Chalese Stevens. You can just go to my...
Well, what about Coffee Talk Tuesday?
Well, it's Coffee Talk. If you look up Coffee Talk Tuesday, you're going to find a whole bunch of things. But you can go to Chalese Stevens. I'll put it in the comments. I'm like, I'll put it up on the screen. No, we won't do that. Or you can subscribe to this group, because this is our Coffee Talk Tuesday group that we're doing this live on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram at Coffee Talk Tuesday. And, I guess.
You can watch KPDR channel 19.1 through 19.7.
We'll let you know on Tuesday at some point.
Yeah. Well,
but until then, we'll upload it. Oh, and we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podbean, Spreaker, iHeartRadio under Coffee Talk Tuesday. So, we're up on all the good stuff. So make sure that you subscribe and follow us and hear all of our awesome stories and our awesome guests that we're having on. And if you want to know more,
who do we have next week?
Next week is Terry Burden.
Oh, Terry the musician.
Mm-hmm. So
Terry used to do the evening show at Park City TV.
Mm-hmm. And early morning.
Did he? No, he just did the afternoon.
No, he did an early morning. I watched it. That's how I knew him.
Okay, well. You know, people who do early morning TV, and I'll let the cat out of the bag. We don't shoot live on Talk 365. Can you imagine doing... Well, shoot, I used to do... My radio was from 3 to 6. Hey, Chris just said to wrap it up. So that's Chalese Stevens. I'm Trip Mitchell. Thanks for watching, and you say goodbye.
We'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you. Mwah.
Okay.